all three.
Yeah. More important
And
than
we
you come
need
to
your
Wednesday and
signature
Thursday.
too.
All right.
This pen.
That
This
one.
one. Yep.
Okay.
That's what I was told.
What
I'm just
is it
following-
on?
On the track.
Following the rules. Thank you.
It's more just an informational meeting.
Okay, I'll see. But I think there is a
Can you sign
ZBA.
this
I
with
gotta
this pen?
screw it up.
Yep, yep.
And what is
Be
it?
able to
Oh, a week from today.
Yeah.
We'll have to confirm this. She said she said.
Not for
Thank
Tuesday,
you.
but I can attend the study session meeting. Yeah.
Oh, okay, the
All set.
25th. Okay, then I messed it up.
Okay.
Okay, you can do the 25th.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask.
You want this as a reminder?
That's a nice shade of Boyd gray there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
That shade of gray.
I think it fits the tone and color scheme of the north quite well. We don't need the whiteness. I'm surprised they're not putting solar panels on the roof, you know? I mean, they got the white reflective, which is good, but
You know, technology's advancing so quickly.
It is the 25th.
It is.
yeah, it is.
Yeah, I don't know if I can come to all three.
You have to,
that's
she
like
told
Tuesday,
me,
Wednesday,
yeah,
Thursday.
Tuesday is more optional
Right.
because it's just informational and it's with the trustees. Not every commissioner needs to go. Wednesday would be good to go.
No, Wednesday and
Thursday, that's if you even have a meeting.
I think there is one. I'll look.
31, almost 6:32.
I didn't know if we were waiting on anybody, but.
Yeah, I think it's time to.
Okay, mic's on.
The Plymouth Township Planning Commission meeting will come to order at 6:31. Secretary, please call roll.
Dennis Sobolski,
Here.
Tim Boyd,
Here.
Stuart Pop, here. Sandy Groff,
It's pronounced growth, just so
Growth.
you know. And I am here.
Sandy Groth, sorry.
Right.
Dan Callahan,
Here.
Bill Ikes,
Here.
Ashley Kruger.
Here.
All here.
Okay, thank you. And before we start the meat of the meeting, I'd like to welcome Sandy Groth to the commission. She is the representative from the Board of Trustees, has many decades of
Thank you.
experience in the public sector. And our other new commissioner is Nancy Kruger, who is an attorney and has been on the Livonia Planning Commission in the past, now resides in Plymouth Township, and works for the University of Michigan in real estate for Michigan Medicine. So welcome you both.
Thank you.
All right, and do we have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
I have a question.
Yes.
I would appreciate it if we could remove item 8D, which is the childcare thing, the discussion, and move it on to the next meeting, because I just got the information yesterday and I am not prepared whatsoever to even speak or talk about that.
Do you know what that, okay.
It's
good.
essential, but I'd just like to move it to the next meeting.
Okay. You know what, is that okay with you guys? Okay, all right, so
Thank you.
we will eliminate item 8D.
8D.
8D, and we'll move it to a future agenda. With that change, are there any other changes? Is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the agenda for February 18th, 2026 as amended.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Stewart to approve the February 18th agenda amended. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And is there a motion on the minutes? Are there any changes, corrections? Not, is there a motion to approve?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the minutes of January 21st, 2026 as submitted.
There's support? Okay, moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Callahan to approve the January 21st minutes as submitted. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item 4 is public comment, so if anyone is here that wishes to speak on any non-agenda item, step forward, give us your name and address if you wish, and you have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'm Mary Pine, G.K. Chesterton and the planning process. I ran across a quote from G.K. Chesterton. It isn't that they can't see the solution, it's that they can't see the problem. And immediately, I thought of the Planning Commission. What was brought to mind was the mindless reaction to an opinion request. I witnessed Dennis, Bob, Laura, and others look at this request issue simply as a math problem, figuring out how to manipulate square feet without any concern for the basic issue, concepts, experience, and common sense needed to be applied. When I suggested that experts in the field should be conducted as the first step, I was told by the requester that it was too soon in the process. A basic understanding, which was obviously not present within their grasp, is the first step in the process of decision-making. As Chesterton stated, they simply could not see the problem. They simply jumped to the solution with no consideration of the why of requirements or possible consequences and poor forced planning. Isn't the Planning Commission supposed to plan for the future? Isn't their job to list possible scenarios and problems that could arise from the location decision before jumping to make those decisions? This is common sense. Apparently, some of you are slow learners and did not learn from the racetrack debacle. Apparently, some chose to consider to use manipulation of guidelines to accommodate non-residents, businesses, politicians' desires to their benefit and to the residents' detriment. Pictures are sometimes louder than words. I appreciate these photos taken by a friend, the only customer in Rite Aid, when a car hit the building at, which is now a fairly busy intersection on Main Street and Ann Arbor Road. My husband is going to pass out a copy for all of you. Fortunately, an employee had just moved from stocking at the point of contact in the building from the car. Please start planning with Chesterton in mind, not manipulation to please others than the people and children of the community. Please learn from the chaos that you have caused the community in the past with the racetrack debacle and all the truck traffic. Putting a daycare center at the intersection where Rite Aid is a terrible idea, and it should not have even been up for discussion. And citizens, please pay attention. If you were aware by paying attention, this would be intuitively obvious to all the residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just to be clear, that Rite Aid location is in the city. It's not in the
Oh, I am
township.
aware of that, but do you remember the young lady, probably who has no children, I'm guessing neither of ours do,
Thank you.
came and wanted the opinion. There seems to be, I'm guessing, there appears to be pressure applied for some sort of agreement. And I will fairly point out, just as you have, that this was not traffic that came swerving from the street. Somebody lost control of their car, and they hit the building with the consequences of it. Now, if you have bassinets there with babies, think about that. And if you know the logistics of how people pick up and drop off at a daycare center, it's quite complicated.
I think you've run past the 3 minutes.
I was answering your question.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Appreciate you coming in. Anyone else? Okay. Next, unfinished business, application 2568, the Al Car Wash. Ready?
Thank you, Chairman Cebulski. Good evening, Planning Commissioners. Liz Hart with McKenna. This application before you is the final site plan for El Car Wash along 5 Mile Road. December 10th, you did approve a tentative site plan, and then it's also a special land use, which was approved back in August of 2025. Not much has changed from the previous site plan, but I'm going to go through the changes. First to note, the first change is all the vacuum spaces are located inside. However, the applicant is proposing to move the mechanical equipment just outside of the vacuum enclosure. It will have a similar enclosure to to what the waste receptacle is proposing with no top to it. I do want to note that noise compliance for special land uses, that is a part of this. So if a complaint comes in about that specifically, we can request that it come back through planning commission, so they are allowed to review it based off of that noise issue. So I just want to note that that's not a condition with the site plan, but that is under the special land use ordinance. We talked about impervious surface during the tentative site plan. The updated site plan does show 60.2% of impervious surface, so that includes the building and asphalt, so the vehicular use areas. Now that has increased from the previous plan from 56%, but I do want to note that that shared access with Tractor Supply to the south is also imposing an increase of the impervious surface. However, the industrial district does not have a maximum requirement for impervious surface, so they are compliant. Just wanted to note that because of water usage on the site and things like that. In terms of natural resources, there were an additional 4 trees required for replacement trees. The applicant has proposed those on the south side of the property near the Tractor Supply in front of the employee parking spaces, so that requirement is now met. No impact to public services, as stated before. No additional changes to the vehicular access, except now your site plan does again show that shared access with Tractor Supply. Adequate pedestrian access with that 8-foot pedestrian path along 5-mile and interior sidewalks. The fire department did approve the plans earlier on. Landscaping, screening, and buffering. The proposed buffer landscaping along 5 miles, so that's been met with the 10-foot buffer. They're proposing 10.5. And then they're proposing 10 inkberry shrubs, or in the previous plan, they were proposing 10 inkberry shrubs and 4 honey locust trees, only in front of a certain portion of the vehicular use area. So, but the whole entire vehicular use area needs to be screened off. So staff asked for additional shrubbage, which they did provide. They're including, on the revised plans, 29 additional shrubs in front of that vehicular use area along 5 miles. So that should be adequately screened now. Parking and loading has been met. Again, just noting that the vacuum spaces are all indoor and just the mechanical equipment is outside. Building design and architecture, nothing's changed for the building facade from the last time you've seen it. So we're still recommending approval of that. Exterior lighting, the tentative site plan proposed a 6-foot height pole. Industrial district only allows 25 feet. They have reduced that pole height to 25 feet, so that is now in compliance. I already went over the accessory building, but in addition to the new mechanical equipment enclosure, there is that attendant booth, which they did provide us those architectural details for it, so that's in your site plans as well, and no issues with that. It is compliant with code. And then the waste enclosure, so the applicant is proposing powder-coated aluminum slats, which isn't a material that is specifically allowed in the code section, but the planning commission can approve this deviation, and staff does find this appropriate. And signage, there was a monument sign on the plan. Preliminary review was conducted, however, not all details were done for a full review. A separate sign permit is required for this application to be approved administratively. The staff is recommending that the planning commission grant final site plan approval with conditions for as presented, with condition that all engineering items be addressed prior to the final stamp. Planning staff did not have any additional conditions to add tonight. That's my report. I believe the applicant is here for questions for you. I'm happy to take any, and I thank you.
Thank you. And the engineering report?
Good evening, Commissioners. Luisa Michi with Spalding and Decker. We had previously reviewed this site plan back in December. Our comments are very similar from back then. Not much has changed. The site is going to be served by water that is already existing. The sanitary is going to be served by future sanitary being constructed by the Meyer development. So one of the main comments for us was that this project will need to coordinate with the Meyer development. It is currently being constructed, but it is something that they need to serve their site. Another item that it needs to be noted is that the El Car Wash is accounted for in a future regional detention basin for the BTEC development. Back then, we had no plans for this project, but since then, we had received those plans and approved them. So this project will have to be constructed before the car wash can move forward with construction. And it will all have to be approved by Wayne County to make sure it meets their standards. We had noted, we had done a review, our traffic engineers did a review, the traffic study that was provided by Fishbeck in October. We have found that there is already existing filling of service at the intersection of 5 Mile Road and Johnson Creek Drive, but it is not caused by this proposed development. It is recommended that a car wash works with Wayne County on coordination for the optimization of the traffic signal if needed. We are recommending final approval with contingent of those comments being addressed before engineering review. Thank you.
So the applicant is working with Wayne County to see if there should be a traffic signal at the Myers site?
That's our recommendation, but that was a recommendation back then, based on the traffic review, yes.
All right, and the applicants received a report from the fire department. They have found no deficiencies from a public safety perspective, and the applicant is here.
Good evening, members of the Planning Commission. My name is Mitchell Harvey. I'm with Stonefield Engineering. I won't go through the entire plan set. I don't want to, you've all seen it. I don't want to go through it again, but I do want to highlight a couple changes that we made. The first is we did pull that vacuum producer outside, but that's still going to be housed within a concrete enclosure. So that really mitigates sound going outside of that concrete enclosure. And really, once you hit about 50 feet away from that enclosure, you're back to normal sound levels. So you won't hear anything past that. And it's set beyond 60 feet from the property line, so there won't be above 60 decibels at the property line, which I believe is a special land use requirement. We did add that shared access drive to the development to the south. So that is bumping up our impervious surface slightly. I know there's no requirement for impervious surface within the industrial zone, but we obviously want to be sensitive of green space and provide as much as possible. But I think that the benefit of that cross-access point is going to outweigh the slight more green space that we could provide. Last item is we are providing significant shrubs and buffering along the front to kind of screen the roadway from that vehicle circulation going through the stacking lane there. Beyond that, we're in full agreement with the McKenna and the engineering review letter. We appreciate all their help and all their diligence going through the project with us. And beyond that, the architect is here, representation from the El Car Wash team is here, and we're happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
A few questions I'll lead off with, and I know a few of the other commissioners have questions as well. So when I was looking at the enclosed vacuum space, I've noticed, and this is addressed also to Laura, the vacuum spaces are 12 feet by 20 feet, 30 feet for pull-out, you know, where the aisleway is. So what is the typical parking space that we have in the township? Because that seems tight to me.
If you want me to answer,
Yeah, you can answer
the
it.
ordinance
You can.
requires a 9 by 20 foot parking space
Oh, okay.
with a 20-foot drive aisle. Now, obviously, we wanted to go a little bit bigger because if you're vacuuming out your car, you have doors open.
Okay.
You want to be able to maneuver. Someone's next to you, you don't want to be bumping into them. So the El Car Wash brand, they like to have a little bit more room for these vac spaces,
Okay.
as well as the wider drive aisle in the middle. Just helps people get out, pull out a little bit easier, and makes vehicle circulation a little bit easier throughout that area.
Makes me feel better. On the hours of operation, you have here between the hours of 7 and 8 p.m. with a maximum of 3 employees. Is that every day that the car wash will be open?
I believe so. They might have reduced hours on Sunday, but 7 to 8.
Okay.
Stephen Barrett, L Car Wash, 30200 Telegraph Road, Suite 205, Bingham Farms. Yes, that's correct. It's 7 to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and then we have reduced hours on Sundays. It's not, it'll likely be 7 to 6. It just hasn't been quite determined at this time.
Oh, okay. Okay. And let's see. So on this concrete enclosure for your vacuum, is that got a lid on it too? Is it totally enclosed or just enclosed like a dumpster would be enclosed?
It's enclosed like a dumpster enclosure, so there is no top onto it. But that enclosure wall is a concrete masonry structure that provides a fairly substantial level of noise dampening.
Okay. And then on the impervious surface, which I think we're all concerned about the environment, Laura, do you happen to know what the impervious surface is at the Myers?
We'd have to pull the plans and look that up. I don't know if Louisa has any sort of rough calculation, but for that site, they do have the on-site detention. It's a rather large basin by 5 miles, so that's gonna
Help.
Yeah, it's gonna change the calculation where all the detention is underground.
I know. Bill, you had some questions?
I do. The first thing I want to say is, this is a safe place to get your car washed, number one, because you're not going to deal with ice skating rink, slip and falls in the wintertime, like I have to at the Pier Wash on Sheldon Road every winter. A. B, the fact that you guys have towels to dry it off and vacuums inside, I think is great. The common curb cutout that is not on 5 Mile is safe also for traffic, right? It's shared, which I think is great execution, number one. With the things I'm encouraged by is, yeah, the impervious solution dropped by 4.2%, but what we gained were 5-foot and 8-foot sidewalks, A. We gained 29 shrubs, 14 trees. They went above and beyond, I think, to green it up, A. So I can live with that, right? The fact that they recycle 90% of the water and they've got this biodegradable system in there to cleanse it is good also, right? So, but my suggestions were pretty simple and limited. We've already talked about the vacuum area, right? I just hope you guys have the data and the sound measurements, right? And I want to make sure on the record you let Laura know you measure with a meter at the unit A as well as at the same distance B, so it's documented.
Absolutely.
Right, and I still think you guys are missing the mark here with the heated concrete behind the 3 lanes, right? You got a great place to push the snow along the back wall, which is good, but where Pure Wash has gotten in trouble is they have a straight push and they hit those 3 lanes and the snow is there, it's stacked up and it's icy and they've got pylons out there. It's just, people are gonna come around the corner and I'm worried their back end's gonna slide out, right? So, sorry, I'm an engineer, I see failure modes before they happen, right? And I'm trained to point them out, so. You guys don't have to take my suggestion and do anything with it, but I just wanted on the record to make that. And then the last one I had was, I'll save that for somebody else to see if they bring it up, right? I just think we're asking for trouble with the garbage truck here based on all the lawn jobs we get in my sub, which has easier turning radiuses that are bigger, but I'll let the other guys speak and gals.
Tim, did you have?
No comments.
Okay. Have you had any chance to look at it? Okay. Down at this end, anyone have questions?
I do have one question.
good.
So while this is my first meeting, I understand that it's not your first time here, and I do appreciate the work that's gone into the revisions. I did review them in depth. Just wanted to say that 5 Mile Road is an important corridor for the township. So just kind of wanted to hear from you, if you can describe like the final building design materials and landscaping, just to ensure that this site is going to look attractive into the future and not just when it initially opens.
Absolutely. I will do a quick synopsis on the landscape, and then I'm actually going to have the architect who brought some renderings and boards that I think do a pretty good job of exemplifying how the site is going to look, kind of in a more 3D view. But what we have right across the front is going to be four deciduous trees, and then that evergreen, or that hedgerow across the stacking lane there. So that's going to screen those headlights from going onto 5 Mile Road with that continuous buffer there. We also have, some other plantings, perennials, flowers, grasses, that kind of thing up there. And then kind of as you move kind of south through the site, we have intermixed trees that meet all zoning ordinance requirements. And then all replacement trees are kind of further to the south there. Both the vac enclosure as well as the dumpster enclosure is also going to be screened by evergreen trees or shrubs. That's the landscaping. Lighting is obviously going to be high efficiency, downlit, dark sky compliant LED fixtures. That's probably all the visual stuff I could get into. Eric, you want to discuss some of the materials we selected?
And perhaps when you're appropriate part of your presentation, if you could just walk by us so we can see that better. Maybe now, so we get an idea before you start describing things. I did appreciate the aerial perspectives that were included in our packet. That helped quite a bit visualizing the
I was
site.
going to say there's a blur.
So my name is Eric Miles with Krieger Cloud Architects, 24321 Sunny Point Drive, Southfield, Michigan. As been noted, this has been a continuous development over time. Initially, when we were looking at this project, we had a EFIS design with an all-white EFIS building, which is the standard branding for the El Car Wash brand. In conversations with the city, over time, this has been developed. We've moved to a masonry structure in addition to the curtain wall around the enclosed vacs to bring it more in line with the neighboring properties. At one point, that was all white brick with some minor colors thrown in. After some more discussions, we've also kind of like made this a more tan building, bring a little bit of warmth, brownness into the property. So we switched out the colors to be a khaki stone for the main primary building facade, with the white brick you see though being more accent pieces. So we believe this is a high quality, durable, long-lasting material building that is going to be very attractive for years to come. So I'm happy to answer any additional questions.
Commissioner Kruger, when they first arrived here, they wanted an all-white building, and we didn't care for that all-white. It really was quite stark. They were originally in Florida, so that works well there, but not so well in our climate. So you took our suggestions, for which we're quite appreciative, and has toned it down a bit, which I think improves it and fits in better in our area.
Significant improvement with the color scheme. Really well done.
I actually did have a comment here.
Okay, sure.
We've talked in the planning commission about the fact that some of our applicants have a really nice landscaping plan, but then they don't maintain it over time. I noticed in this deck on page C7, which is the landscaping plan, up in the right-hand corner, there's actually a season-by-season landscape maintenance schedule that calls out various activities that the applicant's going to do. I commend you for this, and I trust that you will actually deliver on this on an ongoing basis. You've got a really nice layout there with the landscaping in the building, and it'll be to your benefit to maintain that over time.
Absolutely, and I think our benefit as well, because, a good landscaping obviously brings some aesthetic features to the site that we appreciate, as well as or I guess El Car Wash appreciates as the operator.
Any other concerns, comments, questions?
I had two more,
Okay.
Dennis. the light fixtures, right? Dark sky, right, the LEDs with the shields, right, are perfect, right, the type A, B, and C, but the D one doesn't have any shielding on it, right? And light diffracts, as you know, it just splits out and goes around corners, and I was just wondering why we aren't using an LED number one and shielding on it number two, because you get the directionality of LEDs, and you're using 75% less electricity, so it actually costs you guys less to operate, so that was one question on the light. You know, was there a way to improve the D fixture?
I mean, it does, so the D fixture, yes, doesn't have the full shield on the back. It's only on the front and the side, and it's actually a little bit lower. So it's set at 18 feet on the building. We still meet all the ordinance from a photometric standpoint. That's just a light we're able to get on there. We could easily put some sort of downlit or shield to it if, you know, that would make the planning commission more comfortable. We meet the minimum requirements for all property lines and maximums. And
Well, it'll help save you guys electricity. You don't have to, it's just a suggestion, right?
I appreciate it.
And
We'll
putting
take
it
a
on the
look at it
record.
and model it and make sure it's.
And the last one is, we've had 3 lawn jobs in the last 6 weeks with the trash guys in a condo complex where I live with a very generous radius, right? When I looked at the trash dumpster in this picture here, for a Class A garbage truck, right, to go in and make that tortuous curve and back out, you're gonna get a lawn job every week, okay? You're gonna break the curb, you're gonna hit the tree, right, which we value very strongly because we're a tree city, even though we're a township here. So my suggestion here is kindly look at rotating the dumpster 15 degrees, so you have a straight shot coming in, you have a straight shot backing out, so you can get in and out and not obstruct car wash traffic, A, or anyone else trying to get into the tractor supply that's gonna be back there.
I think that's a great comment, and we'll definitely make that rotation and adjust it in our engineering plans. I appreciate that.
Can one of you just pass through us like you did with the building materials on the rendering, the color rendering you have? That one's a little bigger.
So this was the main khaki brown brick going throughout the building. You have the white inset bricks along here and at select locations along the facade. You have the banding, that is the car wash, car wash corporate branding. Up here you have the reflective metal panels up at the tower roof, and then essentially it's still around that tower canopy. A story split face CMU, which we have that sample.
Yeah, we saw that when you brought, yeah.
And the portal into the enclosed vacuum area, which is like a light gray
Right, okay.
metal panel.
Can you share with our new commissioners on each end?
So you got rid of all the white for the most part then?
I wouldn't say all the way, but for the most part, we drastically reduced it.
Yeah.
We still have these inset studios that are the white, but I don't have the exact percentage.
No, I know, but
80% at minimum.
Yeah.
Is this cap.
yeah.
Also, Commissioner Rose down there.
Mainly on this facade. Reflective metal panels up here with a silver trim around the canopy. And then this is more entering into the space. Then you have the curtain wall and essentially opaque panels up there, just trying to hide some of the structure of the roof.
Looks nice.
Thank you.
I think that concludes what, everyone's okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so.
All right, then we're ready for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Planning Commission grant final site plan approval for application number 2568 Al Car Wash site plan and 5 Mile Road as presented with the condition of all engineering items be addressed prior to final stamp.
And you're approving the powder-coated aluminum slats?
Yes.
Okay. That was on bottom of page 8, number 13, the underlined portion.
Right, okay, let's redo it then.
Okay.
Okay. I move that the planning commission grant final site plan approval for application number 2568, L Car Wash site plan on 5 Mile Road as presented with the condition of all engineering items to be addressed prior to final stamp, and that we are approving the proposed powder-coated aluminum slats as called out on page 8 of the planner's report.
There's support.
Okay, second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Pop to grant approval to application 2568, subject to said conditions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank
Good
you
luck
so
to you.
much.
Thank you.
You're welcome, guys.
Just want to say thank you guys. It's been a pleasure working with you, the staff, the commission. We greatly appreciate it, and we look forward to opening up business in Plymouth Township.
Well, we look
Thank you,
forward
guys.
to having you here and bringing this facility to us.
Thank you.
Yep. Next is application 2590, 49500 Techney Drive. And planner's report?
Thank you, Chairman
Thank you.
Cebulski.
Thank you.
Again, good evening, Commissioners. Liz Hart with McKenna. This is a tentative site plan review for Unit 8 of the Ridge 5 Industrial Park, located on Techney Drive, which is just west of Ridge Drive, just south of 5 Mile. The applicant is proposing roughly a 90,000 square foot building that will have warehousing and office space in it on a 4.86 acre parcel. So Unit 8 is the closest unit to Ridge Road. And the property is zoned in the industrial district, and it is part of the Michigan International Technology Corridor, which we've been looking at this area quite a bit, where office, research, design, development, and light industrial are allowed. So site appearance and coordination. So again, it is we are considering it an industrial park, which does have a few different dimensional requirements than just the industrial district, and that those have been met. I want to note the building height for the industrial district is 35 feet. The proposed building height is 29 feet to the top of the roof. The parapet adds that extra 6 feet that you would be seeing with the 35.8 feet in their plans. There were no existing trees on site. This was, the clearing of the site was done prior to this application. And there are no identified wetlands within the area of the site, this specific unit. The development proposes tapping into existing nearby utilities to serve the site, and easements can be found in Techney Drive, and the fire marshal has approved the plans as well. Vehicular access and circulation. So the site's access from Techney Drive, there's 2 access drives from Techney Drive. And on sheet C3.1 to 3.3, you can find the circulation diagrams for the different, like a semi, or garbage truck in the fire department. The drive aisle does provide enough maneuvering space. The westernmost driveway, the applicant has stated that's actually proposed only for truck access, so we added a condition that that should be signed appropriately, so it's not to get confused for trucks versus workers on the site. Pedestrian access and circulation. Sidewalks along Techney Drive are required, or a payment in lieu is required to be made, and the applicant's requesting to do a payment in lieu for the Techney Drive sidewalks. And then the site plan doesn't comply with pedestrian circulation in regards to the barrier-free parking spaces. It needs to have an accessible connection to a walkway leading to the building. There's just a few spaces that don't have a sidewalk right in front of it, so we want to ensure that goes in there. Again, the fire department has approved the plans, landscaping, screening, and buffering. It is capable of satisfying the ordinance requirements. 25 street trees are required along Techney Drive and Ridge Drive. I did count only 24, so just an additional tree should be required along those road frontage. Ridge Road does have existing, like, newer landscaping, so we wanted to get a clarification on the landscaping plan or what's being proposed for this site versus what's already existing. And then we do recommend some additional landscaping facing Ridge Road along the building, just to break up that facade a little bit, and enhance the streetscape. Otherwise, they are, and then we're requesting additional landscaping in the area between the vehicular use areas and the screen, just more screening methods of, like, just ground cover. So we're having seasonal buffering, screening from that. The bioswale provides deciduous shade and ornamental trees, but the intent of the ordinance is to replicate a natural environment, so we're recommending additional ground coverings there and maybe some evergreen, just to get a variety of plantings on the site. And then additional landscaping between the detention pond, which is to the west of the site, and the parking that's right up against it. We just want some additional landscaping and buffering there. Parking and loading, the applicant's required to have 205 spaces, including 7 barrier-free spaces. Right now, the site plan is proposing 109 parking spaces, including the 7 barrier spaces. So they are required to get a variance for the missing 7, or staff has offered a recalculation of the parking for an unspecified, unknown user of a warehouse. Is a reduction in the parking standards. I think it's 1 space per 350 square feet, I think is, yeah, 350 square feet. So it would reduce that parking requirement and get them in to meet what's required per the ordinance with that requirement. And they wouldn't need the variance. The applicant hasn't stated that they would be doing that, so we added that as a condition. And they have a note on that on their site plan that a variance is needed for the parking spaces. For the building design and architecture, it's pretty typical industrial building, but we do not have a complete list of materials used, so that's requested that the applicant provide that with the final site plan. And then we felt that the west elevation did not reflect the same level of architectural detail as the other elevations. So we're recommending that the elevation be changed to match more closely to the rest of the building. And we have discussed that with the applicant, and they should be making that change with the final site plan. Exterior lighting, the proposed freestanding poles at 30 feet. The allowed height is actually 25 feet. I know this report says 30. It's actually maximum of 25, so they do need to reduce that lighting pole. And they also they do exceed the minimum lighting at property lines, which also need to be reduced. There's a monument sign proposed on the site plan. We weren't able to conduct a full review, but a sign permit will be required outside of the site plan review. So staff is recommending approval of the tentative site plan with 10 conditions. The first one being a variance approval for the reduction in parking spaces. The pole height for lighting be reduced to 25 feet. A revised lighting photometric plan. The applicant shall provide a complete building materials schedule for the exterior facade materials and calculations. The west elevation be updated to reflect the same level of architectural detail as the other elevations. The bioswale landscaping be revised to incorporate additional varieties of ground cover plantings. Additional landscaping between the vehicular use area and the street. I did note in here, the planning commission may approve alternative landscaping. I just wanted to note that, what they're proposing may not meet what we believe is appropriate screening. So they can offer an alternate landscaping plan and you can approve that. The westernmost driveway shall be designated for truck access only. The barrier-free spaces shall have a continuous accessible connection to a walkway leading to the building entrance. And then the Ridge Road clarification for the existing trees versus what is proposed. That is our staff report. Again, we're recommending approval with the conditions with all engineering items and then the conditions listed in the staff report. The applicant is here to take your questions, and I'm also happy to take any additional questions. Thank you.
Thank you. And the engineering report?
Yeah, good evening, commissioners. We have reviewed the plans provided by PEA Group, and the following are our comments. I just want to note that we're going to be reviewing the 3 units, and our comments are similarly-ish for all units, so just bear with us if I go over the same comments each time. So it's to be noted that this rich industrial park was developed back in 2021. We did approve there's existing utilities and road. So one of our comments is that we will need to inspect and determine the conditions of that existing private road and utilities, including the pump station and storm sewers, just to determine if there's anything that needs to be removed or replaced. That could be done before construction of these buildings. There is existing water along Techni Drive, and they're proposing to extend that. The township does not like to have water main within the pavement, but we understand that for this building, this needs to happen. So we just want to make sure that they understand the responsibility in the case that there's a water main break and needs replacement, that the owner is responsible for the pavement replacement. There is dead end that exceeds the maximum allowable. So we're requesting that they revise the layout to either to be shorter or to loop back to Techni Drive. The sanitary sewer is private, and they're proposing 6-inch sanitary sewer lead. The stormwater system is to be discharged to the existing detention pond, and in addition, they're providing a bioswale. Based on the calculations provided, the original detention basin was sufficient for all parcels. However, they are proposing higher runoff coefficient, and that is the reason they're including the bioswale. We believe that everything will work out, but Wayne County will have to review and approve that there's no other additional requirements of detention or even upgrades to the existing system. On the traffic part, we just wanted to note that when you combine the whole build-out of the site, it might trigger the requirements for a traffic impact study. So we just wanted to note that an assessment of the traffic volumes to be generated shall just be addressed to the satisfaction of the township. Based on the comments noted in our report, we are recommending tentative site plan. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Thank you. And the applicants received the report from the fire department. They have no deficiencies that they have found from a public safety perspective. And the applicant is here.
Good evening. My name's Maria D'Agostini. I'm from D'Agostini Companies, 38700 Van Dyke Avenue, Suite 200, Sterling Heights, Michigan. We're here for 3 sites in the Ridge 5 development, and we're super excited to be here and have this opportunity to develop what was previously intended to be the track into an industrial development. To tell you a little bit about ourselves, we're established in 1972. We're a privately held, family-owned business. I'm here with my father, Gene D'Agostini, our founder, and Emily D'Agostini, who I describe her as our CFO. We're a prominent developer in southeastern Michigan. We've done retail, primarily industrial, medical, office, and mixed-use apartments. So we are well-versed and experienced in multiple sectors of land development and construction. We offer fully integrative design-build services. We are developers, general contractors, and property managers, and we hold these developments for our own portfolio, which I think is important because we, even though some of the costs up front are a little more expensive, we prefer concrete parking lots. We value engineer our buildings to stand the test of time, quality materials, quality parking lots, because we own and maintain these buildings for generations. We pride ourselves on practical designs. We allow these buildings, we plan these buildings to have maximum versatility for multiple types of users. High ceilings, wide bays in the shop, flexibility so people could place man doors or overhead doors if we need to accommodate that to, for their process or layout. ESFR, fire suppression systems, we spec in these buildings because it allows for maximum versatility with use and storage. So we really design these buildings to avoid being functionally obsolescent and avoid vacancy. So moving on. Our objective here today and in the future years to come is to partner with Plymouth Township to bring value to the people that live and work and do business in our developments in your community. Again, we pride ourselves on having functionally versatile spaces to provide users with ultimate efficiency in their industrial process. Again, large bays, clear ceiling heights, and ESFR fire suppression. We also value engineer our sites to try to minimize maintenance costs. When users look at our sites, the CAM charges, the maintenance charges for landscaping, those are considerations that they look at. So we try to value engineer the site as well. And again, optimal materials, because we maintain and hold these buildings for many years. The Ridge 5 development, I'm sure you're all familiar with. This is Ridge Road and 5 Mile. There is a rail that borders the north side of our site, and then there's another parcel that buffers our site from the corner. This would be considered Unit 8. It is the only parcel in our development that fronts Ridge Road. The entrance comes in along. Again, this was developed, I believe, in 2021 by another developer. This is the detention basin with the forebay, and then the remaining lots around the cul-de-sac. This is all buffered by vegetation. A lot of this is wetland and other natural buffers. So short of this frontage on Ridge Road, our site does have a buffer on all sides. That's a better picture. So D'Agostini acquired Ridge 5 in 2025 with the intent to build 8 speculative industrial buildings ranging from 40,000 square feet to 260,000 square feet. Tonight, we're here presenting units 2, 3, and 8. The site is comprised, the overall site is comprised of 133 acres divided into 8 units. and then it's surrounded by the natural wetlands, vegetation, and the rail. So this is the overall topography of the site that shows that natural vegetation buffer. This is the 3 units that we are presenting today, Unit 8, 2, and 3. And then we envision this site to be similar to other developments that we've done. You're going to see in our elevations and designs that there's a complementary theme through all the masonry work, the elevations, facades. This is a development that we envision Ridge 5 to look like that we've done in Shelby Township. So we've developed this street from 23 Mile Road to 24 Mile Road. And all the buildings in this park complement each other in color and character, but they're not exactly the same. And a lot of these are Tier 1 automotives or defense contractors. Clean lines, ribbon windows, curtain walls in some areas, stone details. On the buildings we're proposing here in Plymouth Township, instead of the metal panel and block, we're proposing precast. Precast offers better thermal statistics or qualities due to the new energy requirements under Michigan Building Code. So it's a little more practical to use for these size of facilities. But again, clean lines, ribbon windows, curtain wall glazing, accents with canopies, and then, landscaping at the entries and along the different facades with street trees as required. So this is the character and vision that we intend to do in this park in Plymouth, just to give you a flavor of what the end product would look like. So getting into Unit 8, let's see, how do I? Unit 8, there's a few points that Liz spoke about. I'm confident that we can meet the parking requirements and massage the landscape details to meet the intent of the township. One consideration is there was a comment about adding a landscape buffer between the pond and the back of this building. I'm not certain that would be advantageous. There is a steep grade here. Adding any significant landscaping there, especially with a significant rain event, this is a natural spot to push snow. It's probably not practical between washout and snow removal. It might not do well on this embankment. What we thought might be a better value add to the site is add it along Techney Drive in front of the pond. You have plenty of buffer between, if we go back to the slideshow. What would be, this is lot Unit 8. This is the pond at issue. We propose adding some landscape in the right-of-way to avoid having any significant landscaping in that embankment. There are some existing trees around the perimeter, but much more than that, I don't know that it may be compromised with, washout in that slope or embankment into the pond. Are there any questions with respect to Unit 8?
Yes, I have a few. So I take it, this is a spec building?
Correct.
Okay. maybe you can help me understand this. The first thing that struck, and the design looks good, I'm sure several of us have some suggestions on it, but I noticed there was so much parking, and I know that you're meeting the ordinance, but most warehouses now don't require all those parking spots. Have you considered bank parking at all?
So we have, we've considered that in the past. We found it's most optimal. Time is of the essence with a lot of these users. That's one consideration. That's why we go at risk. This investment between these three buildings is 30 million plus. So users oftentimes needed it yesterday. We found that when we've done that in the past, it's been a little more burdensome. We'd rather just make the investment, get the site stabilized, get the buildings enclosed, and ready for the users.
Then I have a question on, to find my spot here. So, and this is more for our planners, and maybe I'm misinterpreting this, but on page 7, under exterior lighting, there's a paragraph here that says light poles have a maximum allowable height of 30 feet in the industrial district. But yet on the application prior to this, I get the sense that the maximum height can only be 25 feet.
Yes, that was a typo. I believe I did mention that it shouldn't be 30 feet. The maximum height in the industrial district is 25 feet, so they are above that, need to be reduced.
Oh, okay.
And that is a condition,
Yeah.
that it's reduced.
Oh, okay, that helps. And are there sign standards in your entire development?
So we are not necessarily proposing any signage. What we like to do is package protect for monument signage for each individual unit. A main reason for that is so when we develop our engineering, we know where to have conduit leads to energize a flagpole, a monument sign. When the individual users, if they decide to do a monument sign, they'd apply for, their sign permit in your ordinary course.
Okay. And I'm going to ask Commissioner Boyd to talk a bit about the building elevations.
Thank you. First of all, this looks like a, first-class setup. Very pleased to hear the history of the company, what your plans are. This particular site of the three you're talking about does front Ridge Road, as you know, and as a planning commission, we want to present the best possible impression of this entire site to all of the traffic that comes along Ridge Road. There's a lot of residential traffic that comes through there, as well as the commercial traffic. Your elevation that faces Ridge Road, I would like to see the architecture really extend the entire length of that elevation. And the reason why is because directly across the street, we have the Choctaw warehouse, which we asked them to go and add some visual identity to the front of the building because it was so long. And they actually came back and, in my opinion, they did a great job. Your elevation shows probably a little more than half of that east elevation with the windows and the very nice architecture, but then the remainder of the building is just the plain structure without any architectural interest. So I would like to see you try to figure out what kind of architectural interest you could add to the rest of that elevation, because it makes a statement not only about your individual building, but about the entire development to come in. And, I don't know who some of your other clients might be in the long term, but I think we'd like to see at least the possibility that maybe a couple of people that come into this place are more of a technology type of thing, particularly the ones that face the wetlands to the left or to the west. And I just want to present a really positive entrance to the entire development as opposed to just that one building. So I'd like to see that looked at as a possibility.
Absolutely. In speaking with Liz and Laura, we talked about ways to dress up similar to the building across the street. So on this elevation, specifically along Ridge Road, there's different precast patterns that you can incorporate, and we discussed the possibility of adding some windows, high bay windows along the Ridge Road side, similar to what you see across the street. And in those, those strike lines through the precast, there's an opportunity to do some two-tone painting and different things similar to what you see across the street. So that's the intent with all the precast shop areas, is to provide a little more decorative patterns throughout the precast and in two-tone paint some areas. And when we resubmit for the final, you'll see that reflected in the elevations.
Very good.
They did that, they did some of the two-tone painting. It was, I think, relatively inexpensive. And then on the corners, they sort of did a layering. It's a little hard to describe, but in the daylight, when you go back to this site, just look across the street for inspiration. I also liked the way that warehouse also planted a row of trees, sort of hides, in the future it will, hide some of the mass of that building as well. So you can also think about landscaping and how that plays into it. Yes, Commissioner Groth.
I didn't know. Commissioner Ward was done.
No, Commissioner Groth has the floor.
Me talk.
Oh, okay.
First off, I want to say that very many people in Plymouth Township are thrilled to have you doing these spec buildings and utilizing this site in a positive way. I was going to ask the question about the north elevation as well, but we're excited about it. We're excited about working with you. We're excited about seeing what you come up with. We'd love to see some tech businesses in there. I did want to mention that at one point I saw a sign that indicated you were marketing for a data center. And I wanted to make sure that you understand that we have passed a moratorium, the Board of Trustees, that we've passed that moratorium, and that's something that we will be working on. But I was just curious to know, is that still something that is in your plans, or was that just a marketing?
So we know that, and Jean or Emily could probably speak better to this, there is the availability of power in that area. We understand that the board or the planning commission recently passed the moratorium. If that is ever a potential, obviously that's a later conversation. Myself and my sister Emily were heavily involved in different real estate associations. And data centers aren't right for every community. It's a case-by-case situation. There's so many considerations that need to be considered. So taking it one step at a time is probably prudent for your municipality. But I'll let Jean speak to the marketing of it.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Eugene D'Agostini, and I am here to do whatever they tell me to do. I will tell you that the data center sign that went up was put up by Colliers, who's doing the marketing for us. And data centers are the latest and greatest thing, obviously, that everybody knows about. We don't know what the potential for a data center in the development is. We haven't ruled it out. We think it might be a good tax base for the community. But again, that's something for the community to assess and determine whether it's a desirable contribution or not. I was surprised, though, when the sign went up and I heard about it. I didn't even see the sign. Additionally, the elevations, this elevation, and we do plan to embellish the large masonry panels with some decorative, but in fairness, once the landscaping is superimposed on this, you're going to get a whole different feel. And we are hiring a landscape consultant to put together our landscape plan that we didn't have prepared for tonight. I apologize, but we're going to get some professional input, and that'll, I think, make a real impact on the aesthetics. And believe me, it is our intent to make this a showpiece. And we have to start with Ridge Road to really make the statement, and then we're gonna work our way into the site. But one other thing I wanted to say, and Maria's done a great job, one thing I wanted to say is our business is unusual. You have to create the product, and then they come. In my 53 years of building industrial, I've probably done 5% of the product we've done millions of square feet, has been build-to-suit. Most of it we build and then wait for the tenant. And the reason for that, we don't like doing that because you go at risk, but the reason for that is most of these tenants don't plan a year or two in advance. They get a contract and they need it now. And we're dealing with this right now with a user that we're scrambling to get them in, and the building is up already. I mean, so that's the nature of our business. It is our intent to make these buildings as versatile and welcoming to any tenant. And we think this is going to be a great area for tech-related businesses. So we're excited about it. We think it's a great opportunity for us, the community, and hopefully end users.
We are excited about working with you and seeing what's going to happen, what you're going to do with your future plans. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Other questions or comments?
Bill, did you have?
I have two, actually. The first one is, the planning and foresight, I think, is excellent, because you've got 10-ton crane capability in the beams, right? And you got the footings that will have 20-ton capability. We want to bring businesses to this park. We want good-paying jobs, right? The closest country club is Meadowbrook, okay? There's 23 CEOs of Fortune 500s that are members. Most of them live in Northville and Plymouth Township, okay? This is the perfect place to do what you did at that Cherry Park, okay? So I applaud the content, number one, right? The value engineering, number two. The 56 trees, okay, there really aren't much there. That's incredible, okay? It will help. And to that point, I just want to point out one thing, okay? Not to pick on the facades or the appearance. You've got some very nice fir and pine trees that are 8 to 10 feet tall there. The building with the parapets is, I think, 35, if I'm not mistaken. My ask is, if you go back and you look at the overview of the street, right, from the bird's eye view, you'll notice that real funky pizza-shaped corner, right? Would put money on it that pizza-shaped corner is going to be barren for a long time. So this is the first thing you see as you're traveling south, okay, on Ridge Road from Northville to the freeway, which a lot of people do. And to Commissioner Boyd's comment on the east side, yeah, that's important, but I would like to see something on the higher up area of the north side, because the trees will block out the lower portion. But man, if you could put glass or decorative on the facade on that north side, right, it'll help jazz it up, because that's the first thing you see as you're going north to south through that intersection.
So, to your point, that's this elevation on the building. We do plan on incorporating some different panel designs, not just this grid pattern that you see, which will allow us to do those painting, the two-tone painting and different painting patterns to dress up that north end. This is predominantly shop space, so we like to keep the lower parts of the wall clear for, racking, different process.
Yeah.
But the intent is to dress up the perimeter, the precast shop perimeter, with what you see across the street, fronting Ridge Road, on all sides of the building.
However you do it, I'm glad to hear that you've got the intentions of doing it, right? I wasn't really looking for 100%, but if you had at least 50, 60% dress up on that back, because it's very visible, that was what caught my eye. But the execution on this site, I think, is incredible. And you will get tier one suppliers coming in there, particularly with the footings, right? Because you can take steel and you can run stamping, you can stamp parts in there with what you've done with the foundation, which I think is excellent planning.
And that's something we like to do, oversize the footings so they can accept crane, steels, if that's so required for the use. But again, that goes to us trying to be as versatile as possible in package protecting these for a variety of users.
Great, thank you.
Yes.
I have one question about the parking lot, because I know we've talked about on the commission a few times how there's this sea of blacktop and you'll never have that many cars parked there. So I know you guys are supposedly short 7 spaces based on the official rules, but I would just say if you know for certain you don't need them, I don't know why you over blacktop the whole thing, you know? So I guess you would have to do a variance if, you know, you need 7 less spots, but I would recommend it if you know from your experience you will never need this many parking spots. I mean, I know you know, you're not sure if it's gonna be a production facility or a warehouse, right, so you don't really know. But I would just say, if you know from all your other buildings, okay, I know how much parking we need. I would just say I'm not a fan of a sea of blacktop, that's all.
So this site is kind of unique because it's such an odd shape. And we are short. We did contemplate, you know, trying to cut this corner, but then that would make us significantly lower than your parking requirement. This area provides a lot of maneuverability. These are overhead doors, so you're gonna have trucks in and out, backing in and out. This was that entrance that Liz mentioned, being the truck traffic only entrance and needing that signage. So this does look like a sea of, you know, pavement, but this is probably gonna be the most active with, you know, a truck pulling in, pulling back, pulling out, and same for any like cube van box trucks coming in and out of here. As well as the dumpster enclosure maneuverability. So, I don't know a good way to shrink it. We would love to shrink it.
No. I'm not saying you should shrink it. I'm saying you shouldn't make it any bigger just to follow a certain guideline.
Oh, certainly.
If you know for sure, you will never have this many parking spaces needed.
Yeah.
That's all that I was saying. I wasn't saying to shrink it. I was just saying, don't overdo it.
Noted, thank you.
What?
Well, if you were gonna say to shrink it, I would have agreed with you.
Well, I
Because
mean,
this is asphalt city, and
Yeah,
the trucks are coming in on this side.
Right.
This whole top corner here could be sod and grass, but, you know, just, it's over parking is your point, and I think it's valid.
yeah, I was just, if you don't need that much parking, just go for the parking you know you will need and not any more than that. I mean, that's my thought.
We would love to reduce the parking, especially the way we do these parking lots. We do concrete, we don't use asphalt.
Oh.
It's twice the price.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it limits maintenance and it lasts.
Yeah.
We take pride in doing things the old way and do them once and do them right. The problem with parking is every tenant is different. And so we're trying to package protect for all eventuality.
Right.
Which we wind up spending a lot of extra money. But hopefully we built the best mousetrap there is.
Yep.
And we catch as many users and good users who appreciate what we do. So
Right.
it's a struggle, though. I understand what you're saying, and believe me, we struggle with it all the time.
No, it's hard with a spec building, because you don't, like I said, you don't know who's gonna.
The good news is if we're lucky enough to get a user that has a lot of jobs,
Yeah.
it'll bring a lot of employment to the community.
Yeah.
It's good for everybody, right?
It is.
So-
It is. But if it's mostly a warehouse, you need like 1/10 of the parking or whatever. But, yeah,
Exactly.
we don't know.
Yeah.
I know, we don't know.
From planning, is there any concern about the impervious surfaces here at all?
No, again, I believe they meet it. Industrial parks do have a maximum lot coverage, but lot coverage, how it's defined, is just the building. It's not impervious surface, so that's why they're meeting that. There are no requirements for impervious surface.
I would add that this site
Unit 8 and also 2 and 3, they are just specific units of the larger site, which is a condominium. So when you look at the rest of the land here, there is a lot of protected natural areas that will continue to be maintained. So I don't think the concern of impervious surface is as great at this particular location.
Good comment. I had another one. Maria spoke to the recommendation, the planner's report on page 5, which said additional buffer landscaping is requested between the detention pond to the west in the adjacent parking area. And if I understood correctly, you said you recommend that rather than put the buffer between the parking lot and the retention pond, you would put that same landscaping in front of the retention pond along Techney Drive. Did I understand that correctly?
That's what we're suggesting. We think it'd give more curb appeal. Again, there's no harm in the rear of this building, you know, being buffered from the pond. There's no, I'll say, need for that. And there's a significant slope here. So with any significant rain event, you know, if you have planting beds, I don't know how that vegetation will wear over time. There is some, I don't know if you can tell in here, can kind of see the shadowing, but there is some trees, existing trees already here. So what we're suggesting is just dress up along the right of way. This is flatter and won't have the grade going down into the pond and the forebay.
As a planning commission member, I think this is a very good suggestion, but I'm curious to know what the planning department thinks and what the other commissioners think about that idea.
To Jean's point too, we are going to engage a landscape architect or consultant to provide more comprehensive, you know, I'll say prettier renderings or plans to meet the bioswale requirements with the native plantings and to meet some of the comments that are in here.
We're okay with it. We'd like to see what the landscape architect comes up with, but we do want to see clustering in those areas where it is visible from the road. So more landscape clustering in those areas, but we're okay with it, and we just would like to see what the landscape architect comes up with.
Everybody else okay with that?
I can understand the challenges. I'd have to look at that grade again a little bit better. I don't know, maybe instead of trees and again, I would rely on what the landscape architect would recommend to you. Maybe a pollinator garden. You get some flowers that doesn't do screen, but it does provide a more natural setting. And that might be an approach, something you can run by him and see what he thinks or she.
Certainly.
The tree swap to that alternate location, it makes perfect sense, right? To the appearance. I mean, we're trying to get businesses in here, and I think it will help.
Yeah.
Doing as Marie and Eugene had suggested.
Any other thoughts? No? Okay. Well, then are we ready for a motion for tentative? And you're familiar with the rest of the points that were made. They're underlined in the planner's report. Those are.
Certainly,
Yeah.
between the photometrics and the
Right.
engineering, I'm confident that we can substantially meet the requirements of the township and come up with a
Great.
mutually
Okay.
agreeable plan.
So is there a motion?
Yes. I move that the Planning Commission grant tentative site plan approval for application number 2590, Ridge 5, Unit 8 site plan on Techney Drive, as presented with the condition of all engineering items be addressed prior to final stamp, and with those listed conditions below, numbers 1 through 10, and to allow a variance on the 7 parking spots as called out in the planner's report.
Is there support?
Second.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Stewart to grant tentative site plan approval to application 2590. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Again, we're excited to work with you and come up with a real nice development.
You're not getting rid of me just yet.
I'm down 2 to go.
Yep.
So the next two units that we have,
Okay, okay. All right, next we're. Application 2591 at Techney Drive, and we're ready for the planner's report.
Thank you, Chairman Sobalski. Again, Liz Hart with McKenna. This is a tentative site plan review for Ridge 5, Unit 3, in the industrial park along Techney Drive. The applicant's proposing a warehouse building that will include a small portion of office on a 6.49 vacant parcel. Again, the development's part of the Ridge 5 Techney Corporate Park condominium subdivision, and we have reviewed it as a industrial park. So again, the building height for industrial park maximum is 35 feet, and this building, similar to Unit 8, is proposed to be 29 feet to the roof with the addition of the 6-foot parapet. That makes it 35 feet, 8 inches. While that still meets the ordinance because building height's measured to the top of the roof. Maximum percent lot coverage is 50%. They're proposing 35.9% right now, and they do meet all minimum setback requirements. Preservation of site features, as noted with Unit 8, there are no existing trees on site. The site, as part of the MITC development, was cleared during the demolition of the entire site. There is an existing floodplain on the southeast side of the property, identified as Zone X and Zone AE, which is the 100-year floodplain. It's not expected that these floodplains will affect the development because there's no infrastructure located within the boundary. However, the flood zones do overlap the property boundaries. We have suggested additional landscaping on the southeast side of the property to help mitigate any potential impacts, but it is not required, and we're not requiring it. We're just noted that it is possible, but after Maria has talked about maneuverability with their sites, the rear part of that site is where all the trucks are going, so it might not be possible to reduce that size of that drive aisle to get more landscaping. Just wanted to note that for the site. No impact to public services is expected. Vehicular access and circulation is again coming from Techney Drive, and there's 2 access drives. We do see that it provides adequate circulation for vehicular traffic. Pedestrian access is met. Again, sidewalks along Techney Drive, the applicant's proposing to do a payment in lieu for the sidewalks instead of installing them. And then barrier-free spaces do have access to walkways that lead to the building entryway. The township, or the fire department has approved the plans. The review letter is enclosed in your report. Landscaping. So they do meet the street tree requirement of 1 street tree per 40 feet, which requires 8 street trees. Parking lot landscaping requires the site to have 22 trees, which they've provided throughout the entire area. There is a 10-foot screening buffer along Techney Drive that has been met. And then the maple and serviceberry trees that are proposed like as parking islands on the furthest sides of the property up front along Techney Drive. We're just recommending additional ground cover landscaping there to provide better screenage during non-flowering seasons. And then the bioswale does provide trees. However, we do think there needs to be an additional variety of ground cover plantings to satisfy the intent of the ordinance of to replicate a natural environment. And then the transformer pad is required to be screened, and they do propose evergreen trees around it, or green velvet boxwood and around it, but not right in front of it. We want to make sure the front of that is screened off, so we're recommending that, just moving that landscaping around while also still providing maintenance access to the transformer. However, the utility company would like to access that, we're willing to work with the applicant on that, but it should be screened from the front. Parking and loading, they're using the calculation of 1 parking space per 400 square feet of usable floor area, which requires a total of 256 spaces, including 7 barrier-free parking spaces. They're proposing 258, and so they are compliant with that. Same with loading spaces. They're only required 5, they're proposing 8. Again, the building facade does not provide a complete list of materials, so we've asked that. The main colors of the facade are varying shades of gray, off-white, and khaki. The east elevation does not provide the same finished materials as the front facade, and so we're requiring that that be updated to meet the intent of the ordinance. And that's the east elevation to break up those blank wall areas. Same thing with exterior lighting as Unit 8. The proposed freestanding pole is at 30 feet. It needs to be reduced to 25 feet. And then at the property lines, they are exceeding the minimum foot candle there. I will note that this unit does share a property line with Unit 3. We have made a comment to the applicant about that, of just letting us know of how that coordination in terms of lighting is going to work between the 2 sites. And then no issues with the waste closure. And again, signage will require a sign permit outside of this site plan review. So staff is recommending approval of the tentative site plan as presented, with the conditions of all engineering items be addressed prior to final stamp, and with the listed 7 conditions in the staff report. So reviewing those, the 30-foot freestanding pole for lighting needs to be reduced. A revised photometric plan demonstrating illumination levels at the property lines don't exceed standards. Providing complete building material schedules for the exterior facade. The east elevation being revised to incorporate additional architectural elements to break up that blank wall. The transformer pad landscaping be reconfigured to ensure screening along the front. Bioswale landscaping revised to incorporate additional varieties of ground cover, and then additional landscaping in the landscape islands along the street, buffering the vehicular use areas, just some additional ground coverage there to provide additional buffering. But that's our report. Happy to take any questions right now, and I know Maria has additional information on the site. Thank you.
And the engineering report?
Good evening, Commissioners. Similar to the other unit, this site is serviced by the private Techni Drive. So we are commenting that we will need to inspect and determine the condition of the 60th private concrete road. This will apply to whichever building goes first. I don't know the facing of the buildings, so we just comment for every single building, but it would just apply to wherever building goes first. This site, there is existing floodplain and wetlands areas nearby. The plans do not indicate that these areas will be disturbed or impacted, but we just wanted to note that any disturbance, an eagle permit will be required. On the water service, as before, there is an existing 12-inch water main along the east side of Techni Drive. The building will be served by a proposed water service lead and domestic a fire lead. Our main comment on this side is that there is already an existing water main crossing that property, and there was concern about doing work over the existing water main. The township does not really have any issues. They just want to make sure that the existing gate valves are accessible and not covered. It seems like it's fine, but there is a sign that might be on the way. So we just want to make sure that that is addressed. And again, the comment about the responsibility in the case of a water main break. We also noted that the fire department connection appears to be, the location needs to be corrected to meet the 125 feet requirement from the hydrant. The sanitary sewer service, as before, is to remain private. They're proposing a sanitary lead for the building. The stormwater is to be discharged to the on-site bioswale and the existing detention pond. Wayne County will need to approve the proposed work and make sure there's no other requirements. And again, the traffic comment just to study when the ultimate build-out, if it will require a traffic impact study. Other than that, we have no concerns, and we are approving for tentative site plan. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, a report from the fire department. They have no problem with, they reviewed it for a public safety perspective. And you have the floor.
So similar to Unit 8, all the comments, we believe that we can, address through the final site plan engineering and approval process. The photometrics, we'll modify the poles and redo the photometric to satisfy the requirements, as well as the landscaping. Precast elevations, again, we're going to develop a pattern within the panels so we can provide some, two-tone painting details around the perimeter to dress those up. But we're confident that we can create an aesthetically pleasing building that will meet the ordinance and engineering standards for the township.
Okay. Questions, comments? Yes.
I noted the location of the trash enclosure being on the east corner, and my thought was that it might be better if that was located on the southeast corner behind the woods.
So we are on Unit 2. Let me get to the development drawing.
3.
Or Unit 3.
Yeah. That's visible from Ridge Road. that
So
dumpster
this,
location.
it technically is not visible from Ridge Road because we have a wetland all around us. All this is vegetation around these sites, so there is a significant buffer between Ridge Road and the back of these lots. So visibility from Ridge Road wouldn't be a concern, but we will definitely take a second look and make sure maneuverability and form works out.
It could be moved, it maybe could be obscured better, right? Because that, when we looked at the drawings, it just looked like it may be, but, you know, it looks like you've got trees all the way, right, to your point?
So yeah, let's, just to get back to this area, I don't know why my picture moved. So the Unit 3, 2 and 3 are situated right around here. So the back of those buildings are gonna be buffered from Ridge Road with all this vegetation.
So there's trees in the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that did jump out looking at the drawings.
Yeah, no, it's not as obvious in the drawing, but the only unit that will have some visibility from the public road is Unit 8. This might give a little better. So that trash enclosure for Unit 3 is back in here, and you'll see that buffer.
So what says wetland is actually woods, is your point, with trees?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've driven by that site and is heavily wooded back in there.
Even in the winter when the leaves aren't out, I don't,
You can't see
you
through
can't
there?
see through.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Good.
Are you done?
I am,
Oh,
thank
okay.
you.
Anyone else? Oh, well, sounds like we may be ready.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that the Planning Commission grant tentative site plan approval for application number 2592, Ridge 5, Unit 3 site plan on Techney Drive, as presented with the condition of all engineering items to be addressed prior to final stamp, and that items number 1 to 7 listed in the planner's report be addressed.
Is there support?
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Callahan to grant tentative site plan approval to 2591, subject to set conditions. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next is application 2592. And Ms. Hart, is this you again?
Thank you, Chairman Cybulski. Again, Liz Hart with McKenna. This is a tentative site plan review for, again, Ridge 5, Unit 2, an industrial park on Techney Drive. The applicant's proposing a warehouse building with some future office on a vacant 2.62 acre parcel. The property is zoned IND Industrial District, and it has been reviewed as a industrial park. Going over site appearance and coordination, in terms of lot dimensions, all requirements have been met. The maximum lot coverage that they're proposing is 32.9%, which is well below the 50%. Building height's the same as the other two buildings, 29 feet, and then that parapet adding that additional 6 feet to it. And setbacks have been met. So there are no existing trees on site. You know, the trees were cleared during the demolition of the MITC, demolition of the site. There is an existing wetland floodplain similar to Unit 3, identified as Zone X and Zone 8E, which is the 100-year flood. The flood zones don't overlap with the property boundaries, but again, we did suggest additional landscaping in the rear, just to help create more of a buffer between that and the wetlands, but it is not required for the ordinance. No impacts to public facilities or public services are anticipated. Vehicular access, again, comes from Techney Drive. There are 2 access drives from Techney Drive that allow circulation around the building. Pedestrian access, again, sidewalks along Techney Drive. The applicant is requesting to do a payment in lieu, and then the barrier-free spaces do have adequate access to walkways that lead to the entrance of the buildings. The fire department has approved the plans, and the letter is in your review. Landscaping, screening, and buffering, similar to the other 2. Additional landscaping is required in the landscape area along the street, just the additional ground cover screening. And then same with the bioswale, we want to meet the intent of the ordinance of replicating a natural area, so we're recommending additional variety of ground cover. And then the transformer pad is similar to Unit 3, just that front section isn't screened. We just want to see if we can get that front section screened while also providing maintenance access in the rear or some other place. Parking and loading, the applicant is using the one parking space per 400 square feet of usable floor area for the warehouse, and then we did divvy up the usable floor area for the office, and that is for all 3 units. So that's the 1 per 200 square feet of usable floor area, which requires 110 spaces, including 5 barrier-free spaces, and the plan's proposing 115, including those 5 barrier-free spaces. They are required to have 2 loading spaces, and they do have 2 loading spaces that do meet the loading space requirements. Building design and architecture is similar to this other 2 units. The building facade does not provide a complete list of materials, and so we are requesting that. In addition, the north, east, and south elevations do not reflect the same level of architectural detail as the west elevation, so we're requiring that those elevations provide additional architectural details to break up those blank wall areas. Exterior lighting, again, the freestanding pole does exceed the maximum height of 25 feet, so they're proposing 30 feet. That does need to be reduced. And then lighting, foot candles proposed along the property lines are exceeding the maximum. And again, we just want to know Unit 3, Unit 2 share that property line, so we just want to understand what's happening with the lighting between those 2 units, properties. No issues with the trash enclosure. I believe that's located on the south side of the property. And then signage, again, there is a monument sign, and we're just stating that any signage will have to be submitted through a different application and approved administratively. So staff is recommending the Planning Commission grant tentative site plan approval for Unit 2 as presented with the condition of all engineering items be addressed prior to final stamp and with the listed conditions below. There are 8 of them. The proposed 30-foot freestanding pole be reduced to meet the 25-foot maximum requirement. Revised lighting and photometric plan demonstrating illumination levels meet or at the property lines don't exceed the ordinance standards. The applicant provide a complete building materials schedule for the exterior facade materials. The northeast and south building elevations shall be revised to provide a level of architectural detail consistent with the west. Number 5 actually should be removed because number 4 does cover that. It just says the east elevation shall be revised. We cover that in number 4. So really there's only 7 conditions. And then the transformer pad landscaping, just ensuring that the front of it is screened while also providing access for maintenance. The bioswale landscaping, we're requesting additional varieties of ground cover to better replicate a natural environment. And then additional landscaping for the screening of the parking vehicular area up front. Some additional ground cover shrubbery for that area. That is my report. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. And the engineering report.
Good evening, Commissioners. We review the plans for this Unit 2. Our comments are very similar to the ones we just went over for Unit 3. This site is to be served by the Technique Drive, which we will need to evaluate the condition as well as the existing utilities. There is existing utilities to serve the site, so same comment about the water main and the responsibilities of the owner. The storm drainage, again, is also, will need to be reviewed and approved by Wayne County. And we wanted to note also that this site is also located within floodplain and wetlands area. So again, if any happen to be impacted or disturbed, an Eagle permit will be required. And then lastly, our comment about the traffic in regards for all the units, in regards to evaluate the ultimate build-out traffic if required by the township. Other than that, we have no concerns, and we're recommending approval, tentative site plan. Thank you.
Thank you. And again, the fire department has no issues subject from a public safety perspective. So it's all up to you now.
So similar to the other units, I'm confident that we can meet the intent of the code and the ordinance and the engineering standards through the development of the final engineered drawings. I do want to point out one discrepancy that I just realized as Liz was speaking. The top of the parapet, the intent is to have the top of the parapet at 38 or 35 feet. The top of the roof is not this roof line, that's the top of the window line. The roof line is actually this hatched line right here. I don't know what it scales out to exactly, but that's a typo. That is supposed to indicate the top of the windows. So this parapet height of 6'8", that's not accurate, but when we develop the final site plans and engineer elevations, we'll make that correction. So.
That's it? Any questions? Comments? Okay. If there, yes, sure.
So the staff brought up the fact that the unit 2 and 3 have a shared property line, and there was some potential concerns about lighting between the two sites. Can you speak to that and how you?
So there is an opportunity to do wall packs along the building, and as long as it meets the property line requirement, I believe we can satisfy that with wall packs and maybe eliminate lighting poles at the property line altogether. There's also the opportunity of possibly, let me get back to the site. So on those long runs, I suspect just from prior experience that if we mount these wall packs a little higher, we could cast to the edge of the parking lot and meet the minimum requirements at the property line. So you don't have this overflow onto the adjacent parcels.
Any other concerns, questions? If not, are we ready for a motion?
One comment I want to make, Dennis.
Okay.
Right, this site had additional 30 trees, so you got 3 sites now at 146, where there just about is none today, which I think is really, really good. The other one is, this is a +5 parking spot. The previous one was a +2. The original one was a -7, so you're actually neutral on all the parking across these three if you did a collective combined. Not that we're supposed to do that, but I'm really not worried about, I'm less worried about the 7 spots now. So, and I do think Commissioner Pop's point is, boy, it'd be nice to recover some of that land back on 8. Right? But I'd be open to that if they brought back another proposal that may trim off a few more spots, since that's the gateway entrance to the township.
Yeah.
Other than that, this looks really good. It's really thorough. We're impressed.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I move that the Planning Commission grant tentative site plan approval for application number 2593, Ridge 5, Unit 2 Site Plan on Techney Drive, as presented with the condition of all engineering items be addressed prior to final stamp, and with the items 1 to 8 listed in the planner's report being addressed.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Grote to grant tentative site plan approval, subject to site conditions for application 2592. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
See you soon.
We're very excited. We're looking
Yeah,
forward to being
we are
good
excited too.
stewards.
And it's good to hear about your business model and why you do spec buildings. I was a little uncomfortable about that, but now learning how you do this makes perfect sense. So welcome to the township and good luck.
Thank you very much.
I'd love to see some tier 1 auto suppliers in there.
Yeah, I bet you would too, wouldn't you?
Perfect. Good.
Good. Good luck. All right. Next is the, we'll wait a minute here.
Back in like 2 minutes.
Okay, next is the monthly planning report. Are there any questions or comments
Yes, I had a couple
on the monthly?
on the monthly, yeah. Let's see. So on page 1, the update on the hillside overlook PUD, applicant has submitted for an amendment to their existing brownfield plan to the BRA on February 2nd, 2026. So they're still planning to go ahead with this development. Is that what I'm taking away from this?
Correct, yes. They are seeking an amendment to their brownfield plan, and they appeared before the brownfield earlier this month, and they are scheduled to go before the Board of Trustees in March to recommend an amendment.
Good, very good.
And I'm sorry, I thought you were done. Go ahead.
Okay, let's see, on page, on page 3, the site number 2576 at the top of the page, this is the Olivewood Estates proposal. The sign, the zoning sign is broken. It's, one of the posts is broken and it's kind of flapping in the wind. So they need, if you would ask them to please update that and fix it.
I think I was going to raise that issue up. Isn't when we developed the new standards for that, isn't that sign supposed to be down after a certain amount of days?
I think they wanted to have another public hearing though, so they were leaving it up until they resubmit.
Well, they should clean it up because it doesn't look too good.
Yeah, no, that's good to know. We'll
Okay.
reach out to them.
Okay.
Okay, also on page 3, the last meeting I reported that I'd seen some trees cut down along the south side of 5 Mile Road. I thought that was the site that was going to be developed with the storage of of trailers and so forth. I was mistaken. I think it was actually the property just to east of the Rayon Center. And I was kind of curious, did they come in and ask for approval to cut down those trees before?
They did, and they put up a bond with the building department and have grading approval.
Okay, very good. Let's see, is that it? I guess that's it on that one.
Yeah, I have one, and that's the Seraphin one. It's on page 1, or no, page, well, I just saw it here now. It's page 2.
Page 2.
Second one down, 2534. So is he still going forward to what his original plan is, or do you have any detail?
Yes, the applicant would like to proceed. He is asking for a waiver from the Department of Public Works that is being considered by the township. But until an answer is fully given for that, he can't move forward.
Any other questions from commissioners on the monthly report? Okay.
Commissioners,
Yeah.
if I could just add 2 things under this, please. The MAP training opportunities that was just provided tonight, that PDF, those are just some options for different trainings. Most of those are recorded seminars. Yes, correct, yeah.
This one? Oh, okay.
So these are easily available at any point during the year, but if there's any trainings that are particularly interesting to you or you think you need a refresher in, please let us know, and we'll do our best to accommodate and schedule those with the supervisor's office.
So all these are like computer-based?
Virtual,
training?
most of them have already been
So they're
recorded.
they're recordings, they're not a webinar, okay.
Just in the spirit of training
Yeah,
opportunities
sure.
for this year. And then the supervisor's office asked for any reaction or support to improving the audiovisual equipment and acoustics in this room, and what the Planning Commission's concerns or challenges have been with this space?
Well, people always tell us they can't hear us. It's hard for us to tell from this perspective. So I think anything that they can do with the audio would be helpful.
I just think if people would talk louder and slower, it would help. But I know it's hard because everyone talks a certain way and that's just your default way. But if people would speak up and slow down, I think it would help. But yeah, like it's hard to really understand certain people, yeah.
I have a difficult time hearing, both the engineer tonight
Right.
and even Liz. It's really hard for me to hear her.
Yeah.
I have the same issue. I have a hard time hearing the planning report often, and I have a very hard time hearing the engineering report. And just to reiterate what Commissioner Cebulski said, we've heard time and time again from people who attend our meeting in the audience that they have a really hard time hearing us.
I've often had to move the mic closer, especially when there's a large group.
So I guess yes is the answer.
Thank you for
Maybe they
that
can get the
feedback.
light switches fixed too, because they're hard to turn on, some of them.
And all these classes, they're all free for us to take, right? There's no charge?
No, there is a fee. That's why, let us know what you're interested in, and we'll see what can be accommodated.
So it's a charge per class you want to look at, or it's just a per user?
No, it's a charge per class, and they vary. Like some may be $15,
Okay.
others may be $50.
All right.
You can go onto their website, but my experience has been when I did the first one, you have to have an account. They have our names.
I know.
Because when I called and said what my name, my township and all of that, she had all that information there, and then I think she gave me the password or I created one, but there was a procedure.
Yeah. Okay.
Anything else you want to add at this point, Laura?
No, thank you.
Okay. So we can just receive and file, or do you need a motion? Okay, receive and file on the monthly report. And then I think I can speak for all the commissioners, having that opportunity to do that training is helpful. So next would be the annual report. I have just one comment, turn it over to everybody else, would be on the second page where you mention all our meetings that we had, and you thank Bob and Dave Ladwick. I think you need to say something about the steering committee and how many times that steering committee met and who was on that steering committee, so they get a full understanding of the work behind the scenes, not only on the study sessions that we've had, which I think were mostly dealing with the master plan.
Happy to add that.
Okay, thanks. And I think I had one more, maybe one at the end. Oh, also one more last thing. On page 7, where you say planning ahead, I don't see a mention of the master plan. So some verbiage. Okay, anyone else?
One other comment Dennis wanted to make, and maybe I missed it in here. We got the dark sky ordinance done. It's in the draft master plan, but I didn't notice it being listed in here.
I think it
That's
is
pretty
listed.
significant.
Yeah, I think it is listed.
It is listed, Tim? All right, I missed it.
It's on the bottom of page 4.
Thought I saw
Number
it.
99, Article 28.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, good.
I did miss it. All right, great.
Okay, good.
I feel better, thank you.
Good. On page 4, under site plan applications, December 10th, the Chevy Corvette, the status actually is not correct as written there. The status is that we postponed the plan for up to 1 year. So that needs to be fixed. And then to follow up on Commissioner Cebulski's comment, I think in terms of the 2025 accomplishments, we should make note that we spent a considerable amount of time working on the master plan, even though we unfortunately did not deliver the final result, so I think that should be noted.
And then, I don't know if someone said this, page 6, there's a +8. I don't know if that plus should be there, or maybe it should, I don't know.
Yes, that references that there were 30 sign reviews that were done administratively, plus an additional 8 sign reviews that were done here before the Planning Commission for the Ann Arbor Road Corridor District. So 38 total. We can clarify that.
Okay. Yeah, maybe just explain that a little better, yeah, okay.
Any other additions, concerns?
For this item, we will need a motion to recommend approval with, subject to these modifications and additions to the Board of Trustees.
Okay, if there are no further comments, is there such a motion?
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the 2025 annual report of activities by the Planning Commission, subject to the suggestions and changes that we've just discussed.
I'll second it.
Moved by Commissioner Boyd and supported by Commissioner Ikes to approve and forward the annual report of activities from the commission. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And discussion on the master plan. Are you going to talk about that?
Certainly. So in your packet, you received a internal draft copy of the latest plan. This isn't formatted, so that will be the next step following a finalization of the content. But we are looking to have a study session on March 4th, which is the first Wednesday in March, 6:30, to discuss this plan. For tonight, if there are any general comments that you would like to share with us so that we can look at making some of those edits before providing that draft for March 4th, we'd appreciate any feedback. If you need additional time to look through this and provide any comments, we can still take those. I would say please send those or drop some comments off to the Planning Department by next Wednesday, the 25th.
Okay.
I had a couple that I just want to bring up. Is now okay, or did you want them by email?
Yeah, I had a few too, so I don't know if we want to talk about it now or not. How do you want to do it?
It's the preference of the commission. I think if it's something straightforward that just needs to be addressed, like if it's a small typo or something minor to include, those would be fine to send.
Okay.
But if you think it merits discussion, then I would say we should talk about it right now.
They're pretty simple. The first one, we have 2010 versus 2020 and 2023 metrics, right? And I didn't know if anything more recent was available for 2024 or 2025, right? That's the most latest thing we could get our hands on from the county. Okay, that was one. Page 17, it lists in the municipality at the bottom, Plymouth County and Plymouth County excluding Detroit. I'm guessing we probably meant to say Wayne County. It could be a typo, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I saw that too, yeah.
We're taking over.
Watch out.
Yeah, 17, yeah. I think you're right, I think it should be Wayne.
I was guessing, right?
I'm pretty sure.
The previous table, right, a couple pages had it as Wayne County,
Yeah.
so. It's at the bottom of the table on page 17. It's table 12, page 17.
And then I don't know if that was lifted from a place, so the numbers are the numbers, but it's hard to believe Garden City median value is more than Plymouth Township.
That jumped out also at 645.
Same with Dearborn
grand, I
Heights.
think.
Those figures are wrong. That's what's weird.
Yeah.
Unless it's taken a weird niche slice, but
Well, this chart, I noted that too, and this chart, I believe, addresses rental median home value, but even that just doesn't make sense.
no, rent's on the right, the median home. The rent might be, I mean, like the Dearborn Heights looks high, but it was more the median home value for some of these cities that's
So,
Unless it got right, that's what I was thinking.
And the other point I want to make, again, briefly on page 20 on the school system, I think we're selling ourselves short for the fact we have a vocational tech program. I think there's only 3 in the county, if I'm not mistaken, which is huge. So if you want to work on vehicles, they had electronics, they've got a wood shop, they have all the stuff they used to do, they still have, right? And I don't know how we compare on MEPS, but if it's good, we should take credit for it because people look at the schools, right, with families as a reason of why to be here. And it's just a great school system.
Wait, page what?
Page 28 at the very bottom. Okay. We're selling ourselves short. There's a couple of us PCEP school products sitting up at this table.
Yeah, so you want to embellish that?
Yeah.
The paragraph?
Yes.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean,
I would refer to page 27 when it talks about the background with public safety. That's not exactly accurate information, either for the fire department or the police department. So that needs to be upgraded, and I can just text that to you, Laura, if you would like. For instance, it talks about us going from a volunteer fire department to the Plymouth Community Fire Department, and we went to a combination department and then a full-time department before we went to Plymouth Community Fire Department. And with the police services, we were provided police service by the city of Plymouth after Wayne County. I just think it should spell that out.
Okay, this is from the current plan. So if, I don't know how helpful this is, if you want to provide the history of how the department changed over time, or if you just want to focus on the current. This update, it's a streamlined update, so if there is current text from the last plan, then that was incorporated into this.
Well, I just noticed that it's not accurate, so I'm just.
Should be correct.
Yeah.
don't
I
know,
can send it to you, Laura.
Okay.
I was just going to ask if you.
Sure.
and I had one other thing. Page 12, the Plymouth Township, where Plymouth Township's, I guess, household income fell by 17K, 13%. I mean, I don't know this for a fact, but I bet that's because people are staying in their homes and they retire and their salary falls. That's what, because it doesn't make sense that the salary would fall that much. I don't know, or the household
I
income.
had the exact same reaction.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we can prove that, that'd be nice. But at least we should add that to the findings, at least a sentence, like, you know, a potential reason is because, you know, this, or something like that.
Because the median age increased by 5 years over the last
Yeah,
decade.
something like that. I'm almost positive this is from people retiring and
Oh,
staying.
yeah, I've seen similar
Yeah.
data, and
Yeah.
it is, they always have a note, it's because the community is aged.
Okay, then we need to say that, because because, again, we're selling ourselves short as oh, well, I guess everyone's making less. Well, not really, they just retired.
Well, they are making less and they retire.
They are making less, yeah, right.
I do want to say, though, this is a very well put together report.
Yeah, it's very complete, so.
So Laura, I'm not sure if I'm quite clear. So when we meet again on February 25th, what will we be doing? Will we be going this item by item, or just a general discussion, or
Be
how do you
March-
envision?
March 3rd.
Or March, no,
March 4th.
March 4th.
Well, we'll want to incorporate any of the changes that folks send us, and then we can go through chapter by chapter and just kind of confirm some of the high points, so that, and then maybe some additional changes might arise out of that. And then we'd have the final draft at the March 18th regular meeting.
So if we have something that's quite lengthy, we should email that to you. Okay.
Laura, a question about Chapter 8. In prior master plans, there's been site-by-site description of pieces of land where we're recommending a change in the future land use. And as you know, we earlier went through, last year, we identified 13 potential new spots, 3 that carried over from 2015 that had not been updated, and 11 from the 2021 draft that was never approved. That's not in Chapter 8. Are you not going to include that detail this time?
No, because there's so many parcels that have changed more than just those, that it would be very lengthy, and I don't think would provide much value.
Okay, I would just note that our prior Commissioner, Kendra Barberino, who was the vice chair for a long time, made a comment to me just before she resigned that those specific site recommendations, in her view, I hope I'm not misstating, but the way I understood her was that that's one of the most important action items that comes out of a master plan. So I think that's perhaps something we need to discuss further. The other comment on Chapter 8 would be that I would just ask my fellow commissioners to read the entire text of that chapter very closely, because there's some recommendations in there that have a very profound impact on the future of the township. And there's maybe 1 or 2 that I personally do not agree with, but I think we need a perspective of the entire board on that. So again, I'd ask you to read all of Chapter 8
What page
very
is that?
carefully. It's pages 70 to 80.
Okay, thanks.
So when we send comments, should we just send it to you or send it to
No,
the
send
whole
it to-
group?
Just to Laura, no.
Laura's
The planning department.
Okay.
Yeah. And Commissioner Boyd, if it would be helpful, we could show at the March 4th session a map that has all of the changes. But to break it out parcel by parcel, there are so many that I think it would be overwhelming. But at least internally, the commission could see where those changes are happening and agree upon them, and then you'd have the final map.
Let's take a look at that. And
Does that sound
see
okay?
if we think that satisfies it. Thank you.
So when are we looking to have, I'm just, as a frame of reference, when do you envision this to be final? Like, I guess we recommend it to the Board of Trustees or whatever.
There's a 63-day period after that, too.
Okay, so once we say it's final, there's 2 months.
It goes from, we make the
No.
recommendation to the Board of Trustees.
Okay,
They have the final say, and then it goes for the 63-day period?
Correct.
And then does it go back to the trustees after that?
Yes, first it comes back to the planning commission, and you have a public hearing after that 63-day comment period. And you can make additional changes at that time. You'll have a full summary of all of the comments that are received during that public comment period. You can evaluate if you want to make any changes, and then adopt. And then the Board of Trustees also has to adopt by resolution in this community. That's not typical, but the board has reserved that right.
We're looking probably May,
well.
before it's final.
Yeah, if not, a few, yeah. So summer.
The 63 days is, basically 2 months, and we're on, we're to go from March.
Yes, the goal is that we would recommend distribution of the draft plan to the Board of Trustees at the March 18th meeting. And then the following week, they will allow or authorize the distribution period,
Oh, okay,
which it starts the 63-day
okay.
period.
July, when it's final.
Summer.
That's fine.
Anything else on the master plan?
No, I will not be able to make March 4th session, unfortunately.
Well, just, maybe you can jot down your notes.
Yeah, I'll do
Yeah,
that.
we'd very much like to see those.
Yeah, I've been through 60 pages very in depth, right? So I'll knock down the next 30 and get the notes to you guys.
Yeah, the only way to do this is read every single frickin' word. You just have to. You
Correct.
gotta crawl through it, yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, it's not a casual read.
No, it's not. No. But so what?
But
That's
importantly,
what we signed
if
up
you
for.
compare this to some of the other master plans that I've seen from the state, I think this one does a pretty good job of boiling it down to the key points. So I don't feel, there's not a lot of fluff in this,
Right. I mean, very,
which is something we wanted to try to achieve.
very few people have Indian chiefs, okay, where creeks were named after, or 204 miles of land, of roads, okay, and 174 miles of sewer. It was incredible, the level of detail that's in here, that you would never know, okay, because it's not written down anywhere, but it's in the master plan, which is pretty thorough.
If there are any photos that you may have of the community that you would like included, like 2, 3, 4, 5, feel free to send them to the planning email and we'll try to work them in as well.
Okay. Next is we're done with the master plan discussion? Okay. Next would be the resolution of appreciation for David Ladowick. And who has that? I have the copy,
have
but
this
did you
one.
alter it a little bit?
Oh, no.
Is that altered from the one we got?
No, this is the one I printed.
Yeah, I know, but there was a change that I had.
Just the word exception is exceptional.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it included the additional detail about Commissioner Ladowick's contribution.
Yeah, the
study
contribution.
session.
Yeah, did you get the part about the study session that I sent? The steering committee?
Yes, that's in there.
That's in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to read this, and we'll just know that this does not include it, but.
Yeah, we need, where's the version
signed
with
one?
the?
The signed
Do you have
one.
the signed one?
I gave it to Laura.
Okay.
You can read it.
Who, does Commissioner Pop want to, or do you want me
Do you
to?
want to read it?
Doesn't matter.
Here, I'll do it. Okay.
You could.
I'll take you off the hook.
That's fine. I can
Resolution of
read, but-
appreciation. Whereas David Ladowick has served on the Plymouth Township Planning Commission for more than 2 years, having been appointed October 23rd of 2024. And whereas David Ladowick's dedication, ability, and talent have been invaluable to the execution of the duties charged to the Charter Township of Plymouth Planning Commission. And whereas David Ladowick's professionalism, dedication, talents, personal commitment to seek planning excellence, best practices, and advocacy of sound planning principles have contributed measurably to the continued progress and orderly development of the Plymouth community, and have been invaluable to the execution of the duties charged to the Charter Township of Plymouth Planning Commission and to the citizens of Plymouth Township. And whereas the steering committee greatly benefited from David Ladowick's exceptional dedication and tireless service in preparation of the 2026 master plan, and whereas the success of the democratic form of government depends upon the voluntary leadership and contribution and contribution of time and talent on the part of its citizens now, therefore it be resolved that the Planning Commission of the Charter Township of Plymouth herewith expresses recognition and appreciation for the service and support rendered by David Ladowick to the Planning Commission and the people of Plymouth Township, and extends best wishes to him for the future. Resolution passed this day of 18 February 2026 at the Plymouth Township offices and signed by all members of the Planning Commission.
All right. Do you support?
I support.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. You want to carefully pass that back. Any other comments from the commissioners?
Was that a hint to let other people support?
Oh, I don't know. Okay. If not, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:53?
Mr. Chair, I move we adjourn at 8:53.
There's support?
Support.
Moved by Commissioner Boyd, supported by Commissioner Pop, to adjourn at 8:53. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're adjourned. Yeah, I'm gonna get an email out. Because- For my own benefit, because I wanna make sure I got it straight.
Was it easier for you sitting there as opposed to here? Good.